Why, hello, everybody. Welcome to Dishin Days, where we're serving up a full dish of this week's episodes of NBC's number one award-winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. I'm your host, Tony Moore, and I am joined by my Gagla guy. We have,
Hey guys, Justin Hareld here.
and of course,
Hello, everyone. I'm Araceli. Thank you for joining us this Sunday.
and Michael Mattis is out of town, and so we hope that he's tuning in and wishing him well.
Yes.
He'll be back next week, I think, but we'll see. So,
I
hey,
know.
Michael Mattis. Until then, you can find us on all social media platforms. We are Dishin Days Show on Facebook, Dishin Days on Instagram, and _ Dishin Days on the Twitter. The @ is still wondering whether they should wear a mask or not. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and make sure you listen to our wonderful podcast on any of your favorite podcast stations. Take us along with you on a walk, on a drive, on a spin around your Peloton. We are here for you. And also, buy merch! Make sure you go to dishindays.threadless.com for your t-shirt, hoodie, and beach towel or mugs. We have that all there at dishindays.threadless.com. Thank you guys so much for tuning in live. Later on, we will have the one and only Mr. Dan Feuerriegel.
Yes. Yeah, you got it.
On
yes,
with us. I am like praying that I get that right.
You did it.
I will butcher someone's name. I really will. So stick around with us. We will have him on live with us to talk all things EJ.
Yes.
Aussie, oi. See, Dylan Matthews didn't know that I knew that. I spent some time in Australia. All right. So what did we think of this week's episodes of Days?
I was thinking back to our show last week, and we had thrown around a lot of questions of like how quickly certain storylines were going to unfold, and I think we got a lot of answers a lot quicker than we thought.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I liked it this week. There was a lot. Yeah, it was fast. It was like a lot of progression with storylines. Yeah, I liked it actually better than last week.
Yeah, I thought this week was a solid week. It definitely kept me entertained and on my toes. So, yeah, I thought it was good. Well, let's break it on down, y'all. Yes. It is now time to start
Dishin Days.
Okay. One day we'll get there.
We need to just sync it up and just hit it, play it. All of us doing it.
Dun-dun! We always said it and
forget it.
All right, so let's start with the Paulina, Abe, Lani, Chanel, Marlena, John storyline. What did you guys think? Because there was a lot of progression in there. There's a lot to talk about there. There's a lot to unpack.
I still don't know what Paulina just thought she was like. Yeah. I think she's so used to being like the bubbly, like life of the party person who just gets away with things. Did she really think she would just show up and Lani wouldn't have harsh words for her? Like, she's so downplaying everything that she says she gets it, but I don't think she really gets it.
She's so used to being liked, and she's so used to her money being able to solve the problem, when in this instance, it is the crux of the problem.
Yeah.
Because money doesn't buy you friendship, at least in the 99% of the world it's not supposed to. And she's figuring that out.
I don't know. It's weird because I feel like once she realized, first of all, I don't understand how she didn't go into this project knowing the history of the Horton Town Square.
Yeah, I thought that was an excuse.
Yeah, sometimes I think that's weird. And then when she realized it, she's like, it was too late. And I'm like,
no.
It wasn't too late. Like, you were going to lose a couple
exactly.
But like, I think then you could have diverted your plan into something else. I keep looking at the town square and I'm like,
It looks depressing with the fence up and the It really looks depressing.
But I'm also like, I could understand maybe coming in and going, we need to just maybe do some cosmetics or restructure something or whatever. But I keep trying to imagine like a big old Costco looking thing.
Right.
Like where would they go to meet? Where would they go to hide in secret? Where like I'm thinking of all the useful things of Horton Town Square. Okay. But can you imagine someone being like, meet me at Price Tag?
I know, right?
You're standing on aisle 22 next to the toilet paper, like having a secret private conversation.
Oh God! Oh, they'll bring back Murder Park, where everyone seems to die.
Yeah, it's like you can't be like, I found a body in aisle 13.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
oh God,
I don't know, but I understand that she's like trying to mend relationships.
Yeah.
But I just don't know how everyone so many people were affected. Mm-hmm. Abe was affected because when he landed at John and Marlena's house, he got egged on the way there.
That First hurt of all, me. That hurt.
Side note, I was like, who still does that in 2021?
I know, right?
Who's like there goes that Mayor Abe card,
I know, right?
Down with you! Like who who's doing that?
I'm actually very shocked that didn't become a thing during the pandemic. I think maybe just people are just so waste conscious now. They don't want to waste perfectly good eggs.
Mm-hmm. No, and I mean, listen, you throw an egg and then you go like to try to cook and you like that egg. But I'm glad that like Marlena and John were there for him and just kind of trying to let him know that like, listen, it's not your fault, but Abe is like, it is my fault. I should have really looked into it. And I think it seems like what they're trying to do is almost put it like he had a whole lot more trust in her than he should have.
Yeah, I do like that they're having him take. Sorry. Are you guys hearing an echo?
Yeah.
Okay. I do like that they're having him take some sort of responsibility because it seems like that's the way they're going with this plot of like he sort of turned control over to her, and I can't remember if that jives 100% with what they showed us, but I know everything happened so fast that it's hard to sort of decipher how much of that is true and how much of that is really his fault. But I do appreciate the fact that he's taking like some accountability for it, even in the fact of like I was tricked, like I got duped because this woman who is sort of I have a familiar relationship with kind of came in and she was speaking a lot of truth. I think that's the thing that's disappointing me more is that it's the tricking, but it's also that she stood for such a good cause.
Yeah.
That's sort of non-existent now. And it's like, okay, like I can understand if Pricetown Incorporated a lot of what she was sort of striving for, but now it's 100% about money. And it's like, oh, okay, well, it's hard to even get on her side at that point. Like I think people would have a little bit more sympathy for her if she was incorporating a lot of those a lot of the diversity into Pricetown. But
exactly,
it's just all about money, and it's like, I don't know, the storyline hasn't completely gelled with me yet. I'm kind of waiting to see where it goes, but
no, there's nothing. There is only one way for her to be redeemed at this point is for her to just drop the project.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Excuse me. Hopefully no Rona. Excuse me. I don't know if you guys are familiar or think about this. Sasha says, I guess I have an unpopular opinion because I thought Lani overreacted.
Absolutely not.
No,
because it's not about the material things. It's not about the money for Lani. It's about the fact that this is her husband's family. It's a place that is very important to her husband's family. That would have been like the equivalent, like say you have, a small business in your family and this family, this distant relative that you have when somebody dies comes in and just demolishes it. That's exactly what we're talking about here. Like somebody that you put your heart and soul into a business, into a town, or something that you care about, and some relative you haven't talked to in years just come in and completely demolishes it. She did not overreact.
Yeah, I think it'd be different too if she came in and she maybe sort of got support under Price Town, then it would be a different situation. Or if she came in and sort of said, I'm going to buy a few buildings in the square and I'm going to change some things around. And then maybe people would not like it because it's disrupting the flow or something. But the fact that she was underhanded about it, it's not like basically used her relationships to trick everybody. Like outside of even Eli's family and just the Horton Town Square of it, the fact that she came in and basically deceived not only Lani, but deceived Abe too. It's like, that's a huge sticking point.
Here's the thing. I feel like this. I feel like Lani's reaction is warranted because, number one, she undermined and deceived Abe, the mayor of Salem.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She undermined her daughter.
Yeah.
And Lani's cousin.
Yeah.
That's all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Eli, because that's his family legacy. So that's three members of Lani's family.
Mm-hmm.
And
their children's legacy. Yeah.
Yeah. And Sasha pointed out that, like, you know, Lani should have been more upset with Kristen. What everyone seems to forget is that there's a whole year that we didn't see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And in that whole year, while Lani and Kristen were at the convent, they built a very strong friendship. Yeah.
And then the history that we got with Lani and Paulina was that Paulina was the fun aunt who would blow into town with all of these fancy gifts and this and that, and then blow right back out. He was not the person that was there day to day, you know, consoling Lani. How long has Lani been in Salem? Years.
Yeah.
Lani has been in Salem. Lani has gone through a lot. Was Paulina ever there for any of that?
No, but
she
also
blew into town like a fairy like the fairy godmother that she wanted to be after everything was good, after all of the turmoil that Lani had been put through, and said, oh, now I'm just going to make it even better and they're going to love me more. That's not how it works.
But I also think that she looked up to Paulina as a strong Black woman who made her own money. And it kind of leaves you to question, like, wait, is that how you made your money? By, like, being crooked? You know what I mean? So I think for Lani, there's a lot of emotions going on because, you know, there's all the family members involved. There's this woman that she looked up to. There's a lot of things that are happening, you know? So, and I think with Kristen, you know, because she built that bond, she had a different understanding of Kristen, and why maybe she was doing what she was doing. So it's a little more justified.
I also think it feels different when, like, Kristen predates Lani in Salem and has her own family and history there, where Paulina's coming in as Lani's aunt. So I think Lani, even under that guise, feels some responsibility there. Just of like, okay, this is my one family member who I'm biologically related to is coming into town and disrupting it. It's like, really? Like,
not a Salem Court Mall. Dwight said if Days had a bigger budget, they could build a Salem Court Mall. Can you imagine? Like a Clueless like mall?
Oh God. Remember the old Salem place?
Oh yes. I have a picture of you in front of Salem Place. Yeah.
I saw some photos and I was like, oh, I missed because it was an actual outdoor set, right, Tony? It was actual.
Yeah. It was an outdoor set. Yeah. And a lot of times, like back in the day, if like you couldn't like, if you took the tour and you couldn't see like any of the day sets, then you could at least see that one because that one was always outside.
Yeah.
That was like mid 2000s when I took my photo with it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Anyway, so there's a lot of damage control that Paulina has to do regarding all of that. And I think that there's a number of ways that, you know, that could have been handled, but, you know,
Yeah.
That's kind of how she's dealing with that. So yeah, I think that's it with that.
Yeah.
That storyline.
It feels too much more.
Yeah.
All right. Well, y'all, let's get into this. Ben, Ciara, Theo, Justin, and Chaz.
My favorite subject.
I will say I when we were talking about this last week and sort of no one being happy for Theo, it popped in my head last week. I was like, oh, he hasn't talked to Chad, because I remember Chad the last time being the person who was like pushing him, saying like, go after Ciara, like I think this is great. Yeah. So even though the situation is doomed, I really appreciate Chad being there and being supportive of it. And I also like when they sort of add some realistic like rivalries there. They have certain people not forgive others. I like that Chad still hates Ben, and he justifiably is justifiably in doing that. So I like that Chad is supporting Theo and happy for him, even though it is a doomed situation for the most part.
Yeah, look, I am the resident diehard Sin fan in the room, but even I will not fault Chad. There were Sin fans that were like trying to tell us, like said, Chad should get over him. Like, he set him on fire. Chad is the one person. Chad and Abigail are the two people I will never ever expect to want anything good for Ben, and that's fine. Because of that was the most messed up situation. However, everybody else needs to live in reality, as in what's happening right now, as in what the hell are they thinking?
Well, first of all, I always love that they have conversations playing chess.
Yeah,
I will say, while I love the new Dimeras, I love it, and it's great. Shout out to Tom, who's probably watching. Tom, don't hate me.
Yeah.
I love the Dimeras set. When they were playing chess, I suddenly kind of wish that the old chess set was still there.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? How nuanced and artistic chess sets have become. I think they've always been that way, but they experience like a resurgence in the last few years.
Yeah, that one is very modern and sleek. Like I get that it matches the new set and stuff, but I'm with you, Tony. I was kind of like, oh, I wish the old one was back, just as I feel like sometimes in certain things, like I think sometimes the character of the chess set itself or the one that Stefano played on can kind of have.
Well, that's the thing. Like, just think about all the plans and all the conversations and everything that happened over that chess set. A lot of the if you win.
Oh yeah.
Then we'll do those moments. You know what I mean? So as they were playing, I was like, listen, the chess set is pretty. It is beautiful. In my house, it would be just like, sitting there for looks. But I was like, I kind of wish it was just the old chess set. That could have like been worked into it. But that's just me. But I still don't know how to feel about Theo and Ciara. But watching Ben and Ciara, it's almost kind of become, from my point of view with Ben, it's kind of like, did you guys watch Miss Congeniality?
Yes, yeah.
You know when Sandra Bullock was to the other cop was always like, you like me, you wanna date me, you wanna marry me. Like, I kind of feel like that's how Ben is now with Ciara. Like, you're gonna remember, you know you love me, you're not gonna marry him. Like, it's this playful flirting that he's kind of doing that's, I feel like, is getting under her skin, but she's also kind of like, why do I like it that?
She's panicking. She's so panicking.
Because she really doesn't. I can't tell now. She just doesn't want to remember.
No, she doesn't want to remember. It's not. At this point, it's just like it is becoming desperation and really, man. I I'm sorry, I hate this like 2.0 Ciara. I really I can't explain my disgust enough for her attitude, which is just childish. And like she kept like in that scene with Justin, like she kept trying to say, aha, that's proof you're a psychopath. And he's like, I was innocent, you proved it.
Yeah,
it's like, I did do that. And it's, oh my god, that whole scene was just so annoying. And Justin was right to stay out of it. He's like, nope, I'm out. Nope, I'm not getting in the middle of this. I saw that move a mile away. I was like, smart man.
Can I ask, did you guys agree with that? I actually didn't agree with that.
I 100% agree with that.
Why didn't you agree?
I don't like, I think they paint themselves in a corner when they only have 2 lawyers, or sometimes the Carrie comes out, now there's 3. But like, I think it's weird sometimes when they have a lawyer from a particular family, sometimes take a case from someone outside the family. That never really rung true to me. And they used to do that a lot too with Mickey back in the day, where he used to be Sammy's lawyer and not Lucas's, and that always bugged me as like, don't sort of go against your family. And I think that
was weird.
I don't think Justin has that much of a relationship with Ben to sort of say, I'm not going to pick sides. Maybe it's his conscience, maybe, in the sense of he thinks Ciara will, when she'll get her memories back, and regret it. But I feel like if you're a lawyer, she's of sound mind right now and she wants a divorce. Mm-hmm. She's your cousin and you represent your cousin. You definitely don't represent the other side if you have no connection with them or no personal history with them.
Which is why he chose to stay out of it. I didn't think he was going to represent Ben for the reason that you just said. Because the only reason he represented Ben previously was because Ciara asked him to. But to pick her side now, I think Justin sees the writing on the wall like everyone else in town. He sees the writing on the wall and he's like, no. If she starts remembering, I know I'm not going to be a part of this. You can do what you like. You have free will, but I am not going to put myself in a position to regret my own actions.
Yeah,
I think that first of all, neither one of them. I'm not a lawyer, but I don't think like, what are you going to court for? To make him sign papers that he doesn't want to sign? What's the case here? So my first thought was like, Justin is probably like, yo, there's no case here. There's nothing to like do. You guys need to talk this out. Period. Like, I'm not getting involved. This is messy. Like, this can be an email instead of a meeting.
Yeah, I mean,
instead of court time.
People living in dream world, which I hope this is a dream. And
but I just think that what it is just we're seeing this push and pull between Ben and Ciara. Ciara is feeling and remembering something. You can see it in her face.
Yep.
She just doesn't want to admit it. But everyone else in Salem who took forever and a day to come around to liking Ben are rooting for Ben and Ciara because they saw how happy they were.
Yeah.
So even they're walking on eggshells because they're looking at Ciara like, girl, like, he's the love of your life. And with the history of the show, it's like love always conquers all, right?
Here's how terrible Ciara is acting at this point. To want to get marry Theo on her anniversary to Ben is not just petty.
Yeah,
it's cool, and it is childish. I will repeat this word. It is childish. So at this point, I am so desperate to get the pre-Ciara before her memory loss back. I don't even care if she gets back together with Ben anymore. That's how desperate I am for this situation to end. I don't care if she goes back to Ben. I want her to get her memory back because this Ciara is childish.
As soon as you said that, and that is petty, the first thing that popped up in my mind was Celine Dion's "It's All Coming Back to Me Now," where she said, "And I banished every memory you and I had ever made." And I'm like, that's what she's doing. She's trying to banish every memory. But guess what? When I touch you like this, when you hold me like that, it was that long ago, but it's all coming back to
If we
me.
have any viewers who specialize in YouTube videos, I would highly recommend doing this song for Tony's birthday. Thank you very much. It'd be a great gift.
Super involves him into,
I wish I could just like sing the whole song and like someone put like clips of them together, and it's just me being like, but when I touch you like this, and when you hold me like that, it was gone with the wind, but it's all coming back to me now. Actually, you know what? Side note: the last time we asked someone to do a video, not the last time because that was Kristen, but when we had them do Rob's muscles, I still have that.
I don't.
You don't remember that?
I don't. I mean, I'm sure I saw it just because. I mean,
Were you guys?
Probability as I saw it.
Yeah. So, I was like, you know what? Someone should do like a compilation of all of Rob's like abs and shirtless pictures to Diana Ross's muscles.
Oh.
It is the best video ever.
Oh.
It's amazing.
It's a lot of explaining to do whenever we get Rob back on the show for that one.
Just play
he loves it.
Yeah. Like, watch this, Hanny.
Yes.
So anyway, I mean, listen, I just feel bad for Theo because I just feel like poor, sweet, innocent, loving, nice guy Theo is just gonna get hurt in the end. And then when he was in the square with and ran into Chanel, and Chanel was all in her feelings, and we'll talk about that later, and went to kiss Theo, I was like,
yeah.
Oh, wait, hold on. Trevor, that's a good one. Trevor said, Ciara be like, hey Siri, play There's a Stranger in My House. But
out to me.
That's a good one.
In my house. Took a while to figure out. Well, it didn't take her a while to figure out.
Material today.
You know what? I don't know if I'd be mad at a Chanel Theo part 2. Because I feel like the character has matured a bit. I don't know if I'd be mad at that.
Whatever chemistry, I don't think we ever got chemistry with them to begin with, even with the previous portrayer. And now it's just like that story is gone, move on kind of a thing. Yeah.
I mean, I think I would be down for a part 2 if when I saw them in the square, I felt like, oh, they would be good together. But I didn't feel it.
No, nothing.
I did not feel it. I did not feel it. I want my sons. Oh, that's such a great video. I should retweet it out for everyone to see. Let's see. And then that is pretty much it for that storyline, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Thoroughly.
All right, y'all. Sami, EJ, Nicole, Eric, Lucas, Xander, and Philip. Can I just start off by saying, again, now listen, I love me some Sami Brady.
Yeah.
Like Sami Brady, Susan Banks are my top 2 characters on Days, right? But I can't wait for the ball to drop on Corey. Because when you got your own skeletons in your closet, but you trying to reveal somebody else's, the audacity of you, ma'am. Yeah. And for her to just basically go, now kudos to her for just going to Xander and being like, look.
Yeah, smart.
Tell me the truth. Here's $1 million. But then I was like, damn it, Xander. Everything ain't always about money. You got your job. Like, let it be. Just look at Sami and be like, no. But we know you slept with Lucas. I'll you can give me a million, but I'll slide that $1 million back to you if you go ahead and confess that you slept with Lucas. You don't go around finding out what everybody else been doing, ma'am.
Oh God. Typical Sami.
I'm so over it. Except the one person I was actually really rooting for this week was Lucas. Because I was like, Oh, dang. He's the one who pulled it out of the fireplace.
I liked him pulling it out. I don't like where he seems to be going, taking advice from Philip. I'm like, I feel like he wants to, of course, break up Sami and EJ, but he also wants Sami for himself. And that's not going to happen if you voluntarily destroy her marriage. You know what I mean? You're sneaking around to be the person who sends it to EJ. Like, that's not going to endear you to her.
No, it's not. But I did like, for months, it has felt like Lucas has been following Sami behind like a little puppy dog. Like he has no autonomy. He's just been doing whatever she says, following her lead, whatever. This week it did feel like, for better or for worse, he made a choice.
Yeah,
he actively made a decision. Like, I am literally taking this into my hands.
Yeah.
And I will never understand why when people do things and have things that they're not supposed to do or have.
I know.
Why do people announce it in the most public places?
Yeah.
Why?
Exactly.
I got the letter it's like, why like put it, like leave it at your house.
Oh God.
But also the bigger question is, why did he decide to go and take that letter? I was actually surprised that it was Lucas. I thought it was going to be EJ.
Yeah, I was surprised too when it happened. I was like, oh, Lucas was there? Okay.
And when he stormed into EJ's office and was like, I don't have a gun, but it's a smoking one. I was like, is that letter still on fire?
That was a good line, though. I like that line. That was a good line.
Yeah, it was.
TMM says, Lucas needs a good girl. I think he should leave Sami in the past, even though Brian and Allison are great together. Here's the thing, though. I think the reason why Sami and Lucas work is because they really, really know each other. Mm-hmm. They really know each other, like inside and out, good and bad, flaws and all. Like, and
know each other the best. Yeah.
And of course she has that with EJ, but the thing is, I think with everything that EJ has gone through, being shot, being risen from the dead, recuperating, almost being burned down in the building, being recuperated, living in Europe and all that kind of stuff, I just think that this is a completely different EJ.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, will be on with us later, so you guys make sure you stick around. I think it's just a different feel, and I think that's why we're all kind of rooting for, well, at least I am.
Yeah, and there's so much history. Like, not that there's not history with EJ, of course, but there's so much that even predates EJ, and EJ's been on the show for forever. But there's so much of like the adolescence, the teenage years, the early 20s that Sami and Lucas went through together. It just it doesn't compare essentially.
EJ talks about Sami and Lucas like, oh, they have kids together, big deal. But like you said, like no, even and I'm thinking like people also think that their history starts when they first slept together and they had Will.
Yeah.
No, they actually had quite a long time before they had Will. Mm-hmm. Where even before Sami had her obsession with I forget his name, Austin. Yeah. There was quite a chunk of time there where they were all actually, a lot of them got along. Yeah. They met each other and they got along. Remember that? He was there the year that she found John and Marlena together. Lucas was there for that. Mm-hmm. All of that happened before they even had Will. They had years of time together. So it really is cavalier of EJ to say, oh, they just have kids together, but that's not, they don't have anything else in common anymore.
And then speaking of Nicole, Eric is back.
Yeah.
And let me say.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Greg Bond.
Yes.
You better come around that corner with your scruff and your salt and pepper and your hair all crisp and things like that. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I see you.
Queen Sugar has done well for
Okay.
It has.
But I thought that was great. I honestly, it's very interesting because sometimes with affairs you go, oh, how dare you? But this time I kind of look at Nicole and I go, girl, I know. Like, Xander was just looking fine that day, and you was just like, I just want to try it. Because I'm like, girl, I do too. And so it's like, I totally get it, and I don't fault her for it, and I just feel bad that she's being put in this predicament.
Yeah.
But Lord have mercy when they went to the Brady pub, and like, Sammy's plan was starting to go into fruition. And then she's sitting there like,
the comedy of Sami staring. I was like, she is playing this to the hill. I love it. Like Nicole isn't going to see through this 2 seconds later to be like, do it. Like, who put you up? Of course, Sami. Like
who did this? Who done did this? See, Sasha says too. I don't blame Nicole not one bit. Neither do I, honey. Nope. She was honest. Nicole.
See, I think the one sticking point, like, who knows what's going to happen with Nicole and Eric if this comes out, but I think the one sticking point is that Xander was such an enemy of them as a couple. I think that's the sticking point. I think if this were, I hate to say it, but I think if this were Rafe, I think Eric would have an easier time getting over it, or if this were another man. But the fact that it was Xander, someone who they actively despised, like, that's a different feeling. Knowing your spouse cheated on you with sort of an enemy to your marriage and couplehood, like there's some, I feel like they've sort of like breezed that over and glossed over it because Xander is a different or somewhat different person now, but that's still a big like pill to swallow.
Yeah. Well, that's it for that storyline. We're just gonna have to see how that all plays out. Oh, I do like that Lucas did reveal to Philip.
Yeah, that was nice.
That he had did it with Sami twice.
It's a nice reminder that they're brothers.
I know. We never, looking back, we never got a lot of them as brothers. And I understand, like, there's the age difference, especially when they were younger, but I'm liking that. I love that scene because it was, a reminder that they were brothers. And the fact that, like, he easily confided in him. And the fact that Lucas doesn't have, I love the fact that he's back. I love the fact that they're putting him with Sami. I love the sort of Lumi resurgence, but they also need to develop him outside of that. And I think they rely on Sami being the dominant force there and being the all-encompassing force. Like, part of me was thinking when they had that scene last week, I think it was cut off too because it was a weird scene with him and Eli. And part of me was like, why aren't he and Eli best friends? Like, why don't we get that cousin, that sort of mirror cousin story that Hope and Jennifer had? Like, why don't we get that with Lucas and Eli? Why isn't Lucas in the Horton house? Like, I feel like they separate.
Ain't no room.
Well, then that. I mean, before that, that should have been his designated place, the Horton house, his family.
Ain't no room.
Well, now, but originally,
no room.
Yeah,
they had to have room for Xander and Gwen. All right. Well, listen. Before we get into tidbits, everybody, I just want to remind you to please go and follow us on all social media platforms. We are Dishin Days Show on Facebook, _Dishin Days on Twitter, and Dishin Days, on Instagram. And also, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you find us on your favorite podcast station. And of course, my favorite, buy merch. Please. Thank you so much. And also, you guys stick around. Mr. Dan
Feuereigel.
Feuereigel. Feuereigel. Dan Feuereigel.
We were practicing.
Dan Feuereigel. Who plays EJ Dimera. Dan Feuereigel will be live.
Yes.
With us. Dan Feuereigel. All right. And then watch, he comes in here and I'm like, everybody, welcome Dan.
F, right?
Dan. All right, so let's get into these tidbits. We got Xander, Gwen, Julie, Eli, Jack, and Steve. First of all, how do we feel about the almost sex that happened between Xander and Gwen?
I was okay with it.
You were okay with it?
Yeah. But
I can't stop laughing because Julie, of course, Julie would barge right in.
Julie and that damn couch.
That damn couch. I mean, I'll be honest. I was kind of I was a little bit on Julie's side, and I was like, "You're gonna do it right here on the couch? Like, what the hell? One of you has a bedroom upstairs. What the hell?"
And I did like that Xander was exasperated about the couch. Like, girl, give it a rest. Like, okay.
Like, what is it? But also, hello, everybody sits on that couch, Xander.
Yeah.
Now you got your musty, dusty self, sweating in the middle of the night and all that kind of stuff, just laying on the couch with drawers and all that kind of stuff. And now you're trying to have sex on it. Like, you can't do that to them people's couch. You're a guest. I don't even understand why he's on the couch. That couch doesn't look that comfortable. Why didn't he make
that is not a couch you sleep on.
No. And where's the air mattress? Like, he couldn't go down to Horton Town Square and like buy him an air mattress. Maybe there's no place to buy an air mattress, which is why Price Town is coming soon.
Good grief.
You just not just do a live promo for Price Town.
Need something in bulk? Visit Price Town. Formerly where the Horton Town Square used to be.
Oh my lord.
That's gonna be the new. Oh, there's a new one.
Oh god.
Bed feeling lumpy? Head on down to Price Town Mattresses, where you can get your sleep at a cheap and costly deal.
How do you not have a contract with Sit and Sleep?
How I don't have a contract for many of these places, I will never know or understand. Yes. How is Terrence not graced Price Town?
Oh my
where
god!
You not only see your friends, but also your friendly cashier.
Oh, I was going to say manager. He's the new manager of Price Town.
Oh dear. Oh lordy lord.
Oh, you want to know where I got this glass? Price Town.
No.
Give you a deal and rolling back prices.
No, Roman Brady would never allow it.
She tricked Roman into a brand deal.
Roman Brady didn't put these in Price Town. It was Raymond down the street in Salem that said, "Hey, we just gonna take this. Yeah. I'm gonna just make this little doodad so that it's mine." Brady Pub Club. Yeah. There you go.
Oh, they say like Brady Restaurant. It's like McDowell's and Coming to America.
Yeah.
Brady Restaurant.
McDowell. There, McDonald's. Anyway,
anyways.
Oh, God.
What were we talking about?
Okay, so Julie has finally put two and two together as far as remembering that the man who was on her sofa was Dr. Snyder. And first,
they killed him. They had to have killed him. There's no.
Are you not going to record this?
Yeah.
Are you not going to record this? Are we not recording? I'm like, listen, Julie. I know that you've been in Salem since Salem was built. However, like, let Eli do his job.
Yeah.
That's why I was glad that I'm glad that Eli was like, listen. Tell me what you know, and I'll decide whether we need to put it on record.
He has so much patience.
You have to, especially in Salem.
Oh my god!
And she's all like, "Well, I know who murdered Dr. Snyder, Gwen Wedgechat. Let's go." And it's just like you know how Julie is. She's very,
She literally takes the busybody definition to the most extreme by literally making her body look busy.
She's the Gladys Kravitz of Salem, yes. But I do. You bring up a good point. I love that Eli gets her. I love that, like, from the moment, like, he gets her. He knows his grandmother. He gets her. Like, I do love that relationship. But exasperated Eli and crazed Julie.
But again, I just don't understand why Xander and Gwen didn't just
know.
Dr. Snyder came to the house to just do a house call and just check.
Yeah.
Because in the follow-up, it was a little intense. So he just stopped by to check and apologize. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly he grabbed his chest, he fell to the couch, and he was dead.
Or second, I was thinking, why didn't Xander just bring him to his house and put him in his house? Like
they know where. Oh, they could have looked at his wallet.
Like, yeah, he would have been found, and then they would have found that he had a heart attack. They would have thought he had a heart attack in his house, or it just
peacefully.
Yeah, it was like, it's so convoluted.
They just made stupid mistake after stupid mistake.
Yeah. I mean, this is like Tweedledee and Tweedledum, and then Eli was questioning, and I'm just like, y'all just look guilty. Now remember, this is coming from Gwen, who executed this magnificent plan on getting Jack back. For what she thought he did. Mm-hmm. But you can't execute a plan as to how to get rid of a dead body.
They are planners. They are planners. Both of them plan. Gwen especially is a planner. She had a lot of time to come up with that plan. Even when there were certain things that fell into her lap, like that information about Jack's one night with Kate, that fell into her lap, but she still had time to plan and execute that plan. She does not do well with impromptu things.
Well, look, this ain't impromptu. That man died a long time ago. Y'all could have came up with a plan then.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, we'll see how this unfolds.
Yeah. And then Jack going to Steve and kind of being like, something ain't right. And Steve is like, are you coming to me as a brother or as a client?
There's a difference.
Both. So they about to figure some stuff out.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Mm-hmm. Just a quick reminder, everybody. So when Dan Feuereigel, I look to Araceli for approval.
Yes.
Feuereigel.
Notice I'm not even touching it. Y'all can wrestle with it. I have not touched it. I have not mentioned.
This is what I get for saying I did research.
I did too. When Dan Feuereigel comes on, we will be taking questions. So make sure you have a question ready for him. For who? Dan Feuereigel, EJ Dimera.
Yes.
Don't write it out right now. Just write down.
Not right now, but when he comes on, he hasn't come on yet. And who am I talking about? Dan Feuereigel. I think someone should cut this. How many times I said Dan Feuereigel to make sure that I got his name right. Dan Feuereigel.
I'm sure he will appreciate it.
Shout out to James Lott Jr. who was in the building. I got that name right.
Hey, James.
All right, so let's move on to Philip, Brady, and Chloe. Chloe is, listen, when I tell you Chloe is like McDonald's and she is loving it. She is loving these two men going back and forth over her. Because she's sitting there with her little swing. What do you guys think?
Brady's I understand Philip can be obnoxious, but Brady is really annoying me now.
Yes.
He's real. Like the tide changed very quickly with him. He's really annoying me now. He should have rightfully stepped back and been like, okay, like I'm gonna leave it alone. She chose Philip. She's with Philip. Like
he said this week, come on, what is this, like 20 years ago? And I'm like, God. Remember like the old cartoons when, violence was allowed and, the coyote or whatever, somebody would chase around the coyote with the big giant hammer and nothing would happen, but you just really wanted to use that giant hammer on somebody's head. That's how I feel about Philip and Brady right now. It's like, I'll use toy hammer, but I really just want to beat the heck out of their heads. Like, you are not 19 years old anymore. Come on.
But I also feel like this, Brady, you should sit this one out.
Yeah.
Because, you just got out of a relationship with Kristen. Just. Mm-hmm. So let Chloe and Philip figure things out. Mm-hmm. And what is meant for you will be for you.
Exactly.
If it ain't for you, then sit down and wait until somebody else come in. Yep. John Del Rey says, this triangle is so 20 years ago, literally not interested. No, it's so mean. I think what it is that like it does take us back to like Salem High, but like I don't feel connected because
who wants to go back to high school?
But even back then, I still see Philip and Chloe, and I don't even remember when Chloe went with Brady. I just remember when Brady came back as Eric Martov was when it was like I was with Chloe, but he went through all that stuff, and then they're not together anymore. So I'm just like Team Philip and Chloe, come on back, bull girl.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
It just anybody is over it. We're there, and there are triangles that we are willing to accept. Like we're not into this 20-year-old triangle. Yet we're into the 15-year-old triangle that is EJ, Sami, and Lucas. I counted. It's 15 years.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Okay, well let's see. Let's do a count. Okay. Oh wait, hold on. Let me get my little banner ready. Okay. So let's ask this question. Are you Team Philip or Team Brady? Justin?
Team Philip now.
Araceli?
A thought just popped into my head, but my family watches this show, so I'm questioning whether I should say. I'm just gonna go with neither because
no. Say what you gotta say.
Okay, in regards to Chloe.
Yes.
I'm Team Vibrator.
Huh? Oh, not Team Vibrator. Not Team Leave Me Alone.
Sorry.
A lot of people are either Team Neither or Team Philip.
I tried to say neither.
No, you got to say what you want to say. This is Dishin Days.
Oh, John Del Rey. Wow, you really don't like this.
What did John say?
It should have been the three of them in the car, not Adrian.
Oh my god.
Okay, it's just not interesting, even though I like all the people involved.
I didn't mean to click that one.
No, it's not. Oh man.
Lord.
Yeah.
Nope.
Hopefully it gets interesting soon.
Yeah. Well, moving on, we have the proposal of Justin and Bonnie and the ask of Kayla to be the matron of honor.
That was weird.
I thought the proposal from Bonnie's end, it made sense, but from Justin's end, it didn't make sense to me. I thought it was way too, like, we just had a scene last week where he said he loved her, and like that was the progression of their relationship. So it immediately jumped to we love each other to like I want to marry this woman and spend the rest of her like it was too quick for me.
Yes, that's okay. So that's what it is. The Justin and Bonnie progression has been a little too quick.
Yeah.
That I don't think we've been able to fully grasp it.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. To like fall in love with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So and I love Bonnie, but I want her to be a little more stronger. You know what I mean? Like as soon as something doesn't go her way, she jumps to conclusions and then she's
yeah.
And I wish she would have just been like, oh, okay, and then just had Justin go because I want to propose to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was kind of jolting to have that happen and then get back and then it happened there. Like I wish it all just kind of happened right there. So
also she's another one where I need the expansion of her character. Like she's a character from what 15, almost 20 years ago now. Like, she has her own family. She has friends. Like, there was a point where her and Kate were really friendly. Like, she's been around. Like, I don't need to just see her with Justin. I actually really like them two together. I think it's moving way too fast. I'd like to just see them be a couple. And I also want to see her integrate with other people in the cast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just putting her with Kayla because, you know, Kayla and Steve are close to, like, it's just, they're trying, like you said, Tony, they keep trying to kind of recreate the Adrian thing without having her be Adrian. It's like, no, she's Bonnie. She was a full-fledged character.
Yeah.
Or they even introduced the fact that she looked like Adrian. And I feel like that is being forgotten. Like, she was her own character for many years on the show.
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with anything either one of you is saying. But at the same time, I was just there's so many couples and triangles on the canvas that are so aggravating right now that it felt nice to just look at two people who love each other, who want to be together. There's no drama between the two of them. And I was just like, this feels normal. Then this feels like something.
I mean, but there is drama. It's outside drama because people don't accept her.
You just said it though. It's outside drama. It's not internal drama. Every other couple on the canvas has internal drama right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's that. Let's move on to another couples.
Whew.
Allie, Chanel, Tripp / we talked about Chanel and Theo earlier.
Oh boy.
Lots to unpack because, you know, Allie is now sorting through her feelings after kiss number 2 with Chanel. Chanel has made it very clear that she wants to be with Allie and that she should explore. I like that Allie was honest with Tripp.
Yeah.
I do think that making love to him though was a split decision to maybe what's the word I'm looking for? Not remind her, but like
like
is that feeling of like
over feelings?
I need to do this to like.
She's pulling a Ciara. Yeah.
Yes, I was just gonna say that. Exactly the same thing that Ciara did when she started to have feelings for Ben.
Yeah. So there's that. What do you guys think?
I'm not feeling this story. I just don't know where. I feel like I feel like I don't know where if the writers know where they're going. So I'm kind of left confused and like, I don't know. Now it seems like we're getting an acknowledgement of feelings from Allie, and so now it's becoming a full-fledged triangle where before it was just feelings kind of up in the air. So I don't know how I feel about this.
And it's strangely, I think that's why I love this triangle so much because because we don't know where it's going. We're not getting any hints about like which direction it could go in. It feels that much more authentic, especially today. You know, the last time we had again, you know, the first time around when this was Sunny and Will, there was no real debate that Sunny and Will belonged together, you know, because of their previous friendship, because they were both gay. There was no real competition until Paul, and that was years later. This feels very authentic to me. This feels very real world, where it's not a question necessarily. We're moving in the direction of, it's not a question of gender anymore, of who you're attracted to gender wise. This is really a question of Allie trying to decide what she wants and where she's going. And that is very authentic to who she is and to where she is in her life and her age.
I honestly just think, oh, that's not the one. I honestly think that that what Allie should do is just date both, right?
That would be
date both of them, and then that way she can figure out which which way she wants to go.
Idea.
Like, you know, she's young, so
no
why
one ever
not?
dates. Yeah.
And that's the other thing is that I think she thinks because she has had a baby, because she's had all of these traumatic experiences, because she's had to grow up so fast that all of a sudden, she has to be a grown-up. She went from having zero responsibility and zero commitment in her life to having all the responsibility and a lifetime commitment to this child. There was no in between section where she got to figure out who she was and what she wanted. Now is the time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm interested to see how this is going to go, because this is a very interesting triangle where everything is open and honest.
Yeah.
And like it could go either way, but like everyone's kind of fighting over Allie.
But they're not fighting, which is another thing.
Well, not fighting, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but I love that everybody in this situation is being very honest.
Yeah.
Or as honest as they can be. There's no lying going on. Some people might be lying to themselves or trying to stuff down certain feelings, but there's no lying going on. There's no games going on here. This just feels very real. These are just 3 characters who are just trying to do the best they can.
I mean, it's very different than people in Salem, because Salem, they always lie.
Chanel's not poisoning Tripp. She's not hiring a hitman to kill him.
Right. Nothing. This is just pure, hey, I like you, but this hadn't happened, and I'm seeing, but like now, you know, it's just, you know, it's a lot.
Consider where Allie's parents are right now. I'm so proud of Allie. Just for being honest right now.
Exactly.
In that sense, she is so much more mature than her own parents.
Well, you know, kids usually are. All right. Well, y'all, that was our week of days. And now we're going to get to our favorite part of the show, which are our segments. And we're going to start with mine, which is Tony's. Oh, man. I was about to introduce the segment and then realize okay, now I'm ready. Okay, now we're going to start with mine, which is Tony's official 3 Snaps Award.
Oh, snap.
Still one. There we go. There it is. All right, so my 3 Snaps Award goes to Chanel. And let me tell you why. Because, first of all, Raven Bauer is doing an amazing job as Chanel. Like, I mean, literally, we only had like a day to like get used to her, because one day we saw Precious, and then the next day the door opened, it was Raven, and we was like, okay, girl. But like the fact that she was just like, listen, Allie, you don't have to hide stuff from me. Tripp, come on out. I live for that moment. So for that, Chanel, Raven Bauer, you get Tony's official 3 Snaps Award. Oh, snap. We don't have caption that because Michael Mattis is in Ohio. But what we do have is those were the days.
Yes, this week I'm taking you guys back to July 15, 1977, where we had the debut of the original Samantha Evans, Marlena's twin sister, played by Deidre Hall's real-life twin sister, Andrea Hall. Those of you who may remember, Samantha was the quintessential predecessor to the Sami that we have now, and was tragically killed, which inspired Marlena to name Sami after Samantha. And they also did a sort of kind of new sort of reboot of this storyline back when we got Hattie, the Hattie sort of storyline in the early 2000s, where Andrea came back and sort of took over that role and sort of reprised it as Hattie. So again, taking you back to July 15, 1977, where we had the debut of Samantha Evans.
And those were the days. I will find the note at some point in time. I'm going to auto-tune myself on here. And now it's time for It's a Gift.
This week's It's a Gift goes to Miss Lani, the mostest with the walk and the slam.
Yes.
And nope, not in my house.
Perfect.
Listen,
nope, not in my house.
She was like, who are you? It's a no for me.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. All right, and that was It's a Gift. Let's quickly get through news and gossip, because Our guest is waiting backstage.
Okay.
And then once we get through that, we're going to bring him on. And I would do my test again, but now that he's backstage, I don't want to test myself because I know for sure I'm going to butcher the last name.
Oh, he can watch later and see how tested
okay, wait. Because we have Dan Feuereigel backstage. I hope I said that right. Because if not, the first thing he's going to do when he comes on is he's going to tell me how to pronounce it, and then I won't forget. So now let's go into some news and gossip, Justin.
Yes, we are starting off with Francisco Jen Lilly. She has a wonderful foundation called Christmas is Not Canceled, where she it targets foster youth and families in need. She recruited her a lot of her male co-stars from the Hallmark Channel to do this lovely PSA. It was very sweet and tantalizing. And not to be left out, the Men of Days decided to do their own once they saw the Men of Hallmark. So they decided to do theirs. Here you can see Eric Martzoff, Mike Manning, Lamone Archie. I urge you to go to Jen Lilly's Instagram at Jen_Lilly to see the Days version of it. It is very interesting.
Justin, how many times have you watched it?
Oh, too many to count. Stay to the end where Mr. Lamone Archie. Stay to the end. Yes. When you're done, wipe the drool off your face. Go to christmasisnotcanceled.com where you can also sign up for a virtual game night on Monday, July 26th, hosted by our very own Tony Moore.
Yes. I get to put my Steve Harvey hosting skills to play, so I'm excited about that.
Yes. So again, Christmas is Not Canceled. Anyone, if you are interested in getting involved in an organization or want to learn more about it, please, it's a really good organization. Jen Lilly does amazing work. She's really passionate about foster youth and helping families in need. So go check it out, christmasisnotcanceled.com. Mm-hmm. And moving on to Jen's TV dad, Mr. Shane Donovan, played by Charles Shaughnessy. He is co-starring in the new season of the show Drive, which airs on, let me get this right, Passionflix. This is a subscription-based service that takes romance novels and turns them into both TV shows and movies. So he is co-starring on the new season of Driven. And actually, if those of you who are familiar with it, Casey Diedrich, ex-Chad, I believe was the star of the first season of Driven. So yeah, you can check out Charles Shaughnessy, new season, July 22nd on Passionflix. Mm-hmm. Next up, we want to remind you of Roma Drama with our friend Trevor Donovan, ex-Jeremy Horton. Again, takes place in Nashville, Tennessee, the weekend of July 30th through August 1st. You can get all information and tickets. They're still available at romadrama.com. Again, this is a fan event. And last but not least, we want to urge all of you to save the date. Let me get this right. March 5th through 6th, 2022. All of us here at Dishin Days are teaming up with SpectrumCelebrityEvents.com to do a fan event that weekend here in Burbank, California. Information will be forthcoming. Please go to SpectrumCelebrityEvents.com, sign up for their email list so you can be the first to know all the details as they're released.
Yes. All right. And that is your news and gossip. And now it's time for what you all have been waiting for. We have waiting in the wings, the brand new EJ Dimera, Mr. Dan Feuereigel. Oh gosh, I feel like I'm sweating bullets saying that. So I'm gonna bring him in now. And there he is. Hi, Dan.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey,
Good.
Dan.
How are you?
I'm very well. Nice to meet you all.
Yeah,
I met you briefly, Tony, before, but yeah, nice to meet everybody else. And you're so close with my last name.
Okay,
it's Feuereigel, not
Feuereigel.
Feuereigel. Yeah,
Goal. There's always a syllable that I always mess up.
It's all the E's and the U in there, and it's just I've had it my whole life. One of the stories when I was in grade 5, we all it was orientation day, and we're all sitting outside like in an assembly, and the principal was out front, kind of reading everybody's name off. So we had to put our hands up and stand up and everything like that. And it's reads this name off, and then it's Dan. And I'm like, yeah, that'll be me.
Oh yeah. See, they can understand. They have very simple names. I've gotten it my whole life. My coffee, you wouldn't believe the pronunciations on my coffee cup, depending on the town I go to.
Well, I mean, I stared at the name, and you ever seen the meme of like all the like math things that like pop up?
Yeah.
That was me. So like I YouTubed, I researched, I practiced, and I even practiced on the show. I'm sure some of the fans may do a clip of me repeating your name over and over again as a test.
I love it.
Yeah.
And then you came on, and the pressure was on, and I think I buckled a little, and I got close.
You were very close. You were very close. I don't think anyone that I can remember has ever pronounced it correctly the first time. But it also as well in Germany, it's a German name, or Prussian when it goes back like to Prussian days pre-Germany. They pronounce it differently. It's like Feuerriegel or something like that. So so I guess it just depends where you are, and I can't say anything. I've butchered names left, right, and center my whole life. So if you haven't heard it, then it's kind of hard, you know. So
this is very true. Well, welcome to Salem, Dan.
Yes,
thank you very much.
Anticipated the return of EJ, and I have to say that you're doing an amazing job. In the role. I know that soap fans are very loyal and they're very vocal.
Yes.
But we hear sing your praises that you came on and did and have been doing an amazing job as EJ.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Of course. We want to go back a little because I always like to ask if actors had auditioned for Days before they landed this role. So had you auditioned for Days before landing the role of EJ?
Yes. I think I've auditioned maybe about 5 or 6 times.
Really?
The first audition I ever did, I was like an Elvis impersonator or something like that. Something along those lines. And then every subsequent audition after that, I wasn't specifically sure who I was auditioning for. It was all kind of like, it was a guy that has come back into town who has like some prior relationship, and Marnie, the casting director, basically said that I think I had auditioned for EJ a couple of times, but they just hadn't pulled the trigger or anything like that in regards to starting the character up or running it. So I think I went in one time and did an audition for one of the producers during Dark Week, which is when they're not filming, and it was just me doing a random audition. There was no part, there was nothing like that. It was just for me to meet the producers and I think Marnie was saying that was also trying to kind of get towards the whole EJ character. So she I have her. I'm very grateful for her. She was the one that kind of saw me as EJ almost from the word go.
Good.
And this is years ago, by the way.
Yeah.
Wow.
As soon as you said that, I immediately thought of Xander for some reason. So I'm wondering, and I'm curious to like who would you have been brought in for?
I'm not too sure. Like I would actually have to go back and look into.
I mean it's you never know.
I mean I could probably do it right now.
I mean, listen, we can help you. We can help you figure it out. You tell us the audition day. We can add it and then realize, okay, this is who you could have been.
Let's have a look here. All right, give me 2 seconds. Keep talking. Like I can still see you. I'm just like, let's see. Days.
Okay.
The best part of this, and we've asked people before, like when they finally come onto the show, like if they had ever auditioned before. And there have been times where we've been able to figure out, or they know that, I went and auditioned for this role, and we're like, and it's like a completely different feel, like, oh my gosh, what if they were this role and not that role? So it's like, it's always interesting to find out, like, who could they have been? Someone said they thought there was a character that a guy named Rob Derringer played, and I think it was when Nicole, I think, had ran off to like Canada, Do you guys remember
Oh,
that?
the
There
neighbor.
was a
Oh,
guy.
yeah, the neighbor.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe.
They thought it might have been that. For some reason, I don't remember that. Like, was I not
We don't
watching this?
Yeah, he was like a creepy. Yeah, he was. It was a short role.
Very cool.
Okay.
So one of them, this is back in February 2019. Let's see. The role was Tristan.
Tristan.
It's just Tristan comes into town with a vendetta and almost nothing can stop him. He uses charisma and has the keen ability to connect with just about anyone instantly. He can be ruthless when necessary, sarcastic and intense, but a surprising vulnerability that is very deep within all his undoing. And then, like, the sides that we get, I'm assuming are just old sides.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it may not even connect with.
Yeah,
maybe.
Or it didn't come to fruition.
No, there's definitely a lot of that. And I kind of remember the description of a lot of the characters that I went for kind of had that. I don't want to say generic description, but it's like he comes back into town, he's this, he's that, he's like this and that, and it's kind of, you just go in there and be yourself. So
it also it had a lot. I suspect it had a lot to do with timing as well. If Marnie really had you in mind for EJ from the start,
from the get-go,
then it was a matter of timing as well, because we don't want, we love EJ, but to bring EJ back without Sami and Allison Sweeney's schedule has been very packed these last couple of years. It would have been, the fans would not have enjoyed that as well. So to bring you back together for this particular storyline, I think it just worked out the way it was supposed to.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think she did mention, because when I went and did the audition for the producers, that was like 3 years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago or something like that.
Oh, wow.
So obviously at that time, they weren't even it was on the radar, but they just didn't execute it or anything like that. So then they finally did, and I still had to go through all the proper protocols, and I still had to get the approval from everybody and everything like that. There's only so much, if you want to say power or influence, that Marnie would have, because then it obviously you've heard this a million times. It goes to the producers, and then it goes to like network, and then it's studio, and then you have to have a friend of mine, Ellen. I think she said that apparently for just say a lead in a network show, you need about 50 people to say yes to you.
Wow.
For you to get the approval, because there's so many little different bits and pieces.
And then on top of that, you have to have chemistry with a character who's been on the show for almost 30 years.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Right. So Marnie could be like, this is our guy. And then I could have done the audition and then just had no chemistry whatsoever with Allie. And then it's like, oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Dan, what do you... Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Justin.
What are you finding easier to deal with? The workout sort of regimen to be on daytime, or the fan response you've been getting?
The easiest.
Because I do know you come from Spartacus, and that
I don't train nearly as hardcore as I did back then, because that show was that specifically
absolutely
was that kind of show.
Yeah.
Plus I'm getting older, my body's falling apart, and my shoulder and the hamstring is that. But
post-COVID, we're all there.
No, absolutely. I hurt my shoulder stretching.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it was some special kind of stretch, and I was like, "Oh, probably went a bit too hard there." The fan response has been fantastic. I mean, I obviously haven't seen all of it, but for the most part, I've seen it's all very welcoming and very positive. And you do know in the back of your mind, when you take over a role that was very beloved and was performed so well by the previous guy, that you do have in the back of your mind that people are probably just not going to like you. And so I did have that in the back of my mind, but I also, I guess, convinced myself that, look, he didn't want to come back on the show. He's been gone for 4 or 5 years, however long it was.
Yeah.
I like, it's not as though I'm just coming in and knocking him out of the way and like going, I'm doing this now. But also there's nothing I can do about that except do the best that I possibly can. And that's my job. Like, this is still a job. My job is to go in there and like do the best I can with what I've given and like, and continue the story and keep the show going and keep momentum and all that sort of stuff. And that's what I do. So I can just do the best that I possibly can. And then I have I don't have any sway over whether or not people like that or not. So you just have to accept that.
Yeah.
Which, side note, how I missed you in Spartacus, I have no idea. Like, everyone was like, "Oh, he's in Spartacus," and I was like, "I haven't watched that. Like, what is the Spartacus?" And then I just so happened to look it up, and I was like, "Oh, how this got by me? I have no idea."
Well, that's one of the things with Spartacus. It came out a year before Game of Thrones.
That's what I was just gonna say.
And then Game of Thrones came out and just destroyed everything. And we, at the time, it came out on Stars. This was, I think, one of the first. There was a couple of other projects that they had done, but one of the first original programming. So they were trying to get into that game. Stars was primarily at the time just a movie network where they just showed movies. And so I also heard that, in cable packages, Stars came with a couple of other channels that most people just didn't want to get. And so there was a lot of those complications that came into it. And but it's when they put it on Netflix, that's when it started to develop a lot more.
Always been a well-received show from people, and critics have always said positive things about it. And
I'm very, very grateful to be a part of that. It was such a fun time, and it's like 10 years ago we were
Really?
Jeez.
Oh wow.
Well, we don't know. We forget what year we're in.
Yeah,
I know, right? It's crazy. It feels like it's been one long year.
And all the days are running into each other.
And I will say all the fan response I've seen or heard has been incredibly positive and welcoming towards you, and thinking you're just doing a great job as EJ. And what you're doing with the character.
That means a lot. I'm happy. It gives me confidence going forward of just continuing to do what I do and have fun with it. So
And when you get a lot of recognition from Spartacus, I want to go back a little bit further and say that your history with soaps goes back quite a bit, actually, to you had a stint on the Australian soap Home and Away. And I want to give a shout out to Australian soap operas, because Australia's soaps were the first English-speaking television to go back in the world to work during the pandemic, even before the American soap. So I give them a lot of credit. And we have a couple of Australian viewers here. So shout out to your home country, and talk about how did you think about that experience going into an American soap operas, and are there any differences between the two?
So I can't remember what year I did. I think it might have been around 2006 or 2007 when I did Home and Away. And it was about 9-10 episodes. And the difference is that, so Days of Our Lives is all just on set. It's all in one studio. It's all in one location. Whereas Home and Away is, there are studios, but then you've got locations, you've got this, it's setups. They move the camera here, they move the camera there, rather than just 3 cameras, kind of like shooting like theater, as if you're shooting theater. And Days of Our Lives is just a lot faster, so much faster. Home and Away is still relevant, because I think Home and Away they shoot, I can't remember, I think they just shoot 5 a week. So whereas Days is, I think, like 7, 8, 9. I think at one point we were doing maybe 11 because we're trying to catch up after the pandemic. And that was when I first came in, and I was like, my head was spinning. It's kind of crazy, because I was thinking just before, the episodes that have just aired, I think that's all still my very first month.
Wow. Yeah.
Of filming. I'm pretty sure it is like in a weird way blending into just one long kind of thing because it's because you do so much in such a short period of time. But that would be the biggest difference is that Home and Away, it's a lot slower. It's still a soap, but it's a lot slower. Oh, and also virtually everybody on the show is like a teenager or like early 20s. Days is just incredibly fast.
Yeah,
incredibly fast, and all just talking. Yeah,
well,
that's what it is.
About.
Just talking. Yeah. Whereas Home and Away, there's a bit of action. There's setting up, and you go to the beach, you do this. There's surfing shots. There's all this sort of stuff. So,
when you landed the role of EJ, how did you prepare to go into it? Like, was there someone like did Allison pull you aside and say, "Okay, let me just give you like a brief history of EJ"? Like, how did you kind of like wrap your mind around it and like know tidbits about him? How did you prepare for it?
So a lot of that was kind of given to me during the final audition. Like Marnie would, before, okay, so this is why you would do this. And then when we were rehearsing before the final audition with Allie, she would say, oh, okay, do this, maybe this is kind of what relationship is here, and this is what the relationship there, and everything like that. And so there wasn't any of that per se. I did have a meeting with the head writer and one of the producers, and they went over kind of a bit of the history, but obviously there's so much history.
There's a lot.
And, and where they wanted to take the character that they kind of where they wanted it to go at that particular stage. So it was kind of like that, and then everything else I'm just learning on the fly. Because I'll just ask. I was like, I don't know what this is, and they'll come up and go, okay, so this is what happened. To kind of give me an idea. And so the first couple of weeks was very challenging for me because a lot of it was just like I don't know the relationship of any of this. So especially the first day on set, I'm like I don't know, like. You can understand it logically and be told what it is, but unless there's a difference between knowing that and then actually being in scenes where you perform it, because then it's in your body. And so now, for the most part, a lot of what my character's doing and saying is based on what I've done already. So it's now a lot easier to do the scenes because there's this. The background is actually in my body. Like I did those scenes. It's the emotional kind of thing with that. So there'll be times where the director, producer, or Allie, or like Billy one time would go, okay, yeah, this is, and you were like this, and you like this, and then I was like this, and I'm like, oh, okay. and like learning what my name actually meant. And all this sort of stuff.
Hey, that's play Elvis after all.
There we go. And so I didn't do too much digging into the past because I like to just make it my own and just have it kind of go from there. And plus the writing, I don't need to do too much because the writing basically tells you what the history is anyway. So I just say the words and make it as real as I possibly can and connect with the other actor or actress. And hopefully then it's like, oh, okay, yeah. And the audience was like, oh, okay, yeah, I know what that happened like 5 years ago. And something like that. So
was there anything about the history of EJ that you were like, wow, he really did that? Or that really happened? Was there anything that you've been kind of like, oh, interesting?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. Off the top of my head, because I don't want to get it wrong, but I think
it's okay. We're here to correct.
Well, yeah.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now, but I know there's times I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
But also as well as just hearing about what other characters have done. and this and all this sort of stuff. And I'm just like, there's times where I think in the last month or so, like I'll be doing scenes with a particular actor, and I'm kind of like, why am I doing this? Like, why? And we're kind of like, this is just what you do. And I'm like, oh, God, I can be such a prick. But it's fun though. I enjoy playing that kind of antagonist character.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Dan, it's interesting what you said about being there the first week, because one of the things that popped for me with you coming on were those first Dimera scenes with Tony and Chad. And for me, I think because you're coming in as sort of this new EJ, and not just you as EJ, but also the character has changed since we last saw him. So the stuff with Allie and the stuff with Sami, the character of Sami, is sort of like rocky and a little like iffy there. But like those scenes and like that scene where you first walk in and you sat in the chair and looked at Stefano's portrait, and then you had to see with Tony and Chad. It just honestly, it was just like that. You were on it, and so it's interesting that you're saying it was you took a minute to get it, but on screen, like I think it cemented for a lot of us, like this is EJ. Like this is the EJ we know. We may not know his relationship with Sami now because of what it's been going through, but this is the EJ Dimera we know from the Dimera family.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad it came across that way. It's
absolutely
it's kind of funny because I do remember that day and all that scene, and I was like, okay, just go over here, get your drink, and do this and this. That's a thing as well that I always make jokes of. I'm always drinking.
Yeah,
like my character, if like EJ ever was to permanently disappear, he's definitely like liver problems.
Yeah.
It'll be something boring like that. It's like, oh, what? That's it?
Yeah.
That's his demise. I do remember that day and just going into it's kind of funny. Sometimes those scenes are the hardest ones to do.
Yeah.
Because you're not saying anything. You just have to, and it's also like, okay, we want you to sit down there. Okay, have your drink up to there, take a look at this particular point, wait a beat, then look back, say your lines kind of looking out that way, which just feels unnatural. Unless you've done a lot of theater, then you kind of get what it is. It's for the audience, it's for you. And so I do remember it, and I did it, and it's like, okay, boom, move on. And you're like, all right, okay, yep, thanks guys. And it is kind of like you do these scenes and then they just move on. There's no time to kind of like go, sweet, cool, thank you.
Which is even more astonishing to me, because I think, as Justin pointed out, and I think a lot of our audience agrees, that was the scene that really, I think, got to people. Nothing was said, but the image of Stefano Dimera's portrait just looms large over that house, over that entire set. And for you coming in as an actor who never got the chance to meet Joseph Mascalo, Billy was the last Dimera kid who was able to spend the last few months of his life with him. So it's kind of like you talk about like how you're learning on the fly, you're getting to play with all of these different characters that EJ has so much history with, and then there's the one person that EJ had the most history with, who was unfortunately no longer here.
Yeah. No, it is kind of interesting, but the thing about it is as well is I know that character because that character has been around for so long and it's so prevalent and such a major part of the four families, the show, that I'm like, oh, okay, I know. Like my mum, when I told her that who I was playing, she's like, "Oh my god!" Because she used to watch it. She used to watch it with her mother and her auntie.
Oh, nice!
They loved they was like, "Oh, she would hate the fact that you were a Dimera." And I mean, hate but love it, and I think that's just really cool. So, and I used to watch it when I was a kid.
Oh wow, nice. That's cool.
It was one of those shows where if you were homesick or you're on holidays, it's on TV and it's the only thing that's kind of on, so you watch it. And I remember the period of time where I was kind of having health issues for about 3 months, and I was fully invested.
Yeah.
I can't remember the storylines, but I was fully invested, and I would also get annoyed because I'd be invested in this one storyline, and then I'd have to wait like 3 episodes before the storyline
came back around.
God damn it! And yeah, it's such an iconic show that even though I haven't been in it before, obviously, but there's just so much that you feel like you kind of know because you just know it because it's been around so long.
Yeah, and we reminded fans, before you officially came on, it's like EJ has been off the canvas for so long, and with him coming back from the dead and like having to recover and everything like that, he's not going to be the same as he was before. And what I found interesting was that having you come on to play him, you kind of have a little bit more room to play because he's not the same because he's been through all of this. So you kind of have a chance to kind of redevelop him a little bit. And again, you're doing it beautifully. Like we've been waiting. He's finally here. He is like coming in and wrecking shop.
Yes.
We are on pins and needles as to when he's going to find out about all the things. So like it brings like a new breath of fresh air to the show and to the Dimera clan.
Well, I'm glad. I'm humbled that what I see is a job, but it's a fun job. It's like I get to go and pretend to be somebody for like a day. It's stupid. when you think about it.
Yeah.
But but back in, you'd say, Elizabethan times or even earlier, that was the form of entertainment.
Yeah.
Was people getting up and telling stories. I mean, telling stories has been around since, I guess, the dawn of time.
Yeah.
I feel great about it. I do have a bit more room. I mean, I still am learning and still really starting to sink into the character. And there are episodes where I'm very much, I think, the EJ that everybody knows. And then there's other episodes which I really like where all of a sudden there's this vulnerability that comes out where I'm like, oh, here we go. It's kind of like this like the man behind the curtain is kind of like why he's doing and why he's doing the things he does and why he is the way he is. And there's been a couple of episodes that I've shot fairly recently where another character's kind of brought that out of me of like, I know why you're doing what you're doing. And then I become honest. There's a couple of episodes that I haven't shot yet that I've read ahead where I'm vulnerable again, and so those little moments are definitely gifts because it just further gives your character depth, and it's really cool.
How did you and Allison start creating your bond with each other? Especially like coming in and like diving right in and like, as fans, we expect, these two characters to like automatically like have this chemistry and this relationship and everything. But as two actors coming together, like was there anything that you all did to just kind of like create a bond and create a little chemistry with each other?
No, I mean, like doing obviously the final audition scene, that in a way is kind of like a bit of a bond because you're working together and you're doing all this sort of stuff. And just over time, it just slowly develops. Like we didn't do anything, like we didn't go out and, hey, let's go out and drink and like something like that. Like Allie's super busy. She's like a super busy person. And so like we'll like talk and FaceTime and kind of like run over lines and things like that, and then we'll do the scenes and she'll be kind of like, I don't like this and this, okay, this is why this is happening and this and this and this, and so that is where the chemistry kind of developed. I know the first kiss that we did, I realized when we were shooting the scene, I was like, wait, we haven't even discussed this. Like it all happened so. Oh damn!
Yeah.
How do I do this? Because like, and so we just kind of did it, and I don't want to say it was like it. I don't want to say it looked awkward, but it was just one of those kisses, the kisses of like two people kissing for the first time.
Yeah,
that haven't discussed it, and but in a way, it was actually perfect.
Yeah, made sense for the characters. Yeah.
Like, you know, like Sammy's going through some stuff. She's kind of like, and I'm coming in with this new perspective on life of trying to be a better person, a better husband, a better father. And so, in a way, we are both new characters coming together.
Yeah.
And so I think it all kind of worked out perfectly. And my nerves for the first like week of shooting, I think was kind of like worked well for the character as well. Like he's coming back into a place that he'd been away for a long time, and virtually everything had changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't remember like specifically where the episodes are at right now in regards to what I'm like about to say. So I'm probably saying something a little bit ahead, but he does kind of, that's brought to his attention that everything's changed. Like people are different now. Like you can't necessarily be the same person that you were.
Yeah.
You have to evolve and develop. And so it is kind of good that a new person's coming in and doing this, because he's like, I don't know, I'm going to deal with this. And I'm growing as an actor, like Dan Feuereigel is growing as an actor on the show, just like EJ is growing as a person on the show. So it's kind of like this nice little harmonious kind of blend.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we have a few questions from fans.
They're eager. They're very eager.
Yes.
Very eager. So we'll start with this one.
They're like, shut up.
No, I feel like some of them are probably at their screens like.
Yes, they are enjoying what they're seeing.
Yeah. So TMM wants to know, Dan, who has been the most fun person to work with on Days, and what has been the most challenge you've been creating your EJ? I think like what's been the most challenging
part of it?
Your EJ? Yeah.
Like I don't want to. Like every single person that I've worked with has been fantastic. So I don't necessarily want to say like who's been the best. Like obviously Allie's amazing to work with, and she kind of took me under her wing, maybe with not to her knowledge, but just the way she was and the professional that she is. You just
looked at her and you're like, oh, there you are, Dan.
Oh, Dan! Oh my God! Hi, Dan. But just with her professionalism, just how she was, and just me watching, I think is like, I guess my version of like taking me under her wing, because I just watched, and you know, it's like you're on set if you're working with like say Denzel or like Al Pacino, and you just watch what these like A-list professionals, how they work, and you just learn so much. Billy, I always enjoy working with, because we just kind of literally just like two dudes just being silly.
Yeah,
that's definitely Billy.
Yeah.
So it's always fun. Who else we got? Like Camila's hilarious. Like Galen, just all of them. Like they're all just, everybody's just funny and just enjoying themselves. And I think I posted it on my Instagram, the scene, the boardroom scene. Where the takeover of Dimera, that day was hilarious for me. That was a really fun day, because all of us just got together, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, it's not just two people in a scene, 5 or 6 of us, and we're all just going to be like a bunch of kids, or a bunch of, or as Brandon said, like a bunch of cats just kind of like so, and like when there's more than one other person in the scene, it's fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we can only imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun when it's just like you and someone else. It's generally it's kind of like somewhat serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when there's multiple people, where we're all just like goofing around, and sometimes the crew probably gets annoyed at us. But it's
on the work.
Everybody I've worked with is a lot of fun.
Which that boardroom scene reminded us of more Dimeras.
Every single Dimera that ever was.
So many of us.
There's so many
of us. Yeah.
I was like when Gabby,
it's a litter of cats.
Yeah. When Gabby, Camila brought out the whiteboard to like write them all out.
Yes.
I was like, yes, this is what we need. We need to see it written out so that we can follow the family tree.
This is what Dishin Days needs. We how many times have we brought out the fake whiteboard?
My fake whiteboard that's right here to explain things. Yeah, it's always in this area right here. Let's see. Some other questions. Tina Moore wants to know: have you experienced an Allie family real slap? Yeah.
Don't give anything away.
I have been slapped, but it wasn't real. Like it wasn't are you talking about like a real like actual like smack in the face? Or,
I think just like
or it's just like metaphorically.
There's a classic Sami slap that happens.
Allie's known for slapping people.
Yeah.
Or Sammy's known for slapping people.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you can't have daytime without a good slap.
Oh yeah. I mean, my character has been slapped, but I won't give away who's
okay.
Okay.
All right, there you go. Listen, Dan, keep your job, okay? Because we can't hire you here at Dishin Days. Like there's no openings and there's no money. Or 401k. So just to forewarn you of that. Let's see. Trying to find some other ones. You were speaking of a lot of other people that you worked with, but Me-Roll 2 wants to know, what was it like working with Theo Pinglis, who has been a legendary Dimera as well?
It was amazing. We hit it off straight away because we're both Australian. And so we spoke about like, where he was from and like his background. And we just had that kind of like camaraderie kind of straight away. And then acting with him was a lot of fun. And there was a funny moment where I think he muffed a line. He's like, oh, damn it. And he's like, well, this is what happens when I haven't been on the show for a while. Shut up. And so that was kind of funny. And it's always lovely to see him because he's another one where I'm like, I remember you. I remember you, like, and you're very recognizable. And it's just really cool. So a lovely human.
Yeah.
Dwight wants to know, and for those of you who haven't seen it, you can go and check out Dan's screen test on the Dual app. But he wanted to know, what was it like doing the screen test with Allie?
Oh, I was nervous.
Yeah.
Like this was the day basically. You get to set. I had to do a COVID test, and you got to go into one of the dressing rooms. You're in the dressing room, and you got to wait for 2 hours to get the approval of like, yep, you're all good. But then because of the restrictions, you couldn't do anything. You just had to stay in your room. And then like I went up and did a rehearsal with Allie and Mani, and we just kind of did like a kind of a blocking rehearsal because that's how they were, how they're going to do it. Because obviously they were shooting the show while we were rehearsing. So we did the blocking in the pub. So that was kind of cool. And she was lovely. She like told me, okay, do this and kind of be here. And then this is what it was like. And she was like, I don't think we should, let's probably try this and let's try that. So it was like 2 kind of actors and Mani kind of working as like professional actors, which was really cool. And then obviously I had to go back into my room, and then you get the call up and you go up into the Dimera mansion. And it was the first time I ever saw the Dimera mansion. And basically we did like a kind of a quick kind of run through for camera, which was really good. And that kind of settles the nerves a little bit. And then I did the scene, we shot it once, and then that was that. And they go, thanks, Dan. And then
Nice.
you just leave.
Then out. Yeah.
Yeah, then you're out because they've got about 4 or 5 other people who are auditioning for the role as well to come through.
Right.
And so not only you have that, and you're in an environment what you haven't been in before, you also have hanging over your head, oh, this is a big role. If you get it, it will change your life. This is your job as an actor. Like there are periods of time where you're not acting for a long time, and it's a very, very hard kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So all of that is going through your head, but I'd had so much time to prepare. Like, I think I got to LA from Australia. They kept me in a hotel. We got the sides. And then I probably had like maybe a week before I had to do the test. So that's in the acting world, that's a lot of time for just one scene, which is fantastic. And then you do like a kind of like a mini rehearsal with Marnie over Skype. And she did that with everybody. So I was very confident, but also the nerves are still there. And also there's a little sense of confidence in me of like, I think I might get this, because just all the little ducks were in a row in regards to, I knew that Marnie was a big supporter of mine. I'd met the producers before. They wanted me enough to fly me over from Australia, to keep me in a hotel, to give me a car. That's never happened to me before.
Wow.
So all of these little things were all kind of like a little
lining up.
Lining up. And so, but still, you have to have about 50 people say yes to you. One person in power who's like, nah, I just don't like it. And they go, okay, we'll move to another person. So 2 days later, I was driving and I got the call, and like, it's more relief than anything pops over you than anything else. It's just like, oh, okay. And then you get into it. And then I had about, I think, like a month and a half before I even shot. So I had a month and a half of trying to somewhat get remotely fit. And I'm still trying.
I feel like after the year that we've had, that's been everyone. Like, I'm so glad that everyone can see from here up, because from here down.
Well, it's kind of funny if you like. So the episodes that I'm shooting now, to my very first episode, I've lost 13 pounds of fat.
Wow.
You'll see the change in my, especially my face. I've got, like, in the beginning, I had like kind of a bit of a round face because I put my weight in my face. And then over time, it just kind of slowly whittled down to kind of what it is now. And I'm still going with my training and everything like that. But you see my look changes as well. Like, because I'm still experimenting with my look. Like, first it was like parted, and now it's slicked back. And then I think they're starting to get to like, okay, he can have a little bit of stubble now. And
you know what? I'm glad you're mentioning this.
Yes, that was
So when we announced it on here that he was coming in, and I think I mentioned something about when I watched the screen test. I was like, oh, I like this. Like, he has scrub. There's a bit of an edge. He has his cut and everything like that. And then you came on, and I was like, wait a minute, what's this part clean?
Who's
like, what happened? Like, so, and then it was, we talked about it, we were like, well, who made that decision? Like, what, like, because I think the scrub and the look that you had in your screen test, it gave EJ like this edge that we know that like EJ has. And then like his arrival to Salem, it was like, well, what school are you going to?
Yeah, exactly. Because I like that. That's my kind of natural look. Like, I'll do like the kind of shaved around the sides, and I'll have like the superhero beard, as they call it. I think they just wanted me to look different to everybody else, because pretty much every other guy on the show, I think, has got like stubble or a beard, something like that. So they just wanted me to look a bit different. And then just over time, myself and my hairstylist we just slowly kind of like just change things.
Yeah.
She's like doing things. She's like, oh my God, I really like that. Let's do that. And as my hair gets longer, it gets kind of wavy and curly.
Yeah.
And so she was like, oh my God, I love this. And she's like, she's wanting to embrace that. So she's giving me like product that actually makes my hair more curly. And so we're now embracing my curls. So future episodes, it's still kind of neat and a bit slickish, but there's more of this kind of like, you know, curly kind of stuff.
Really?
And stubble now, but stubble to a point. I can't have like a full, you know, castaway beard. So,
we will be sure to monitor that, and I'll be sure to give my report on it as we see.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Kevin wants to know a very simple question: how tall are you?
I'm 6'2".
Oh, nice. That's how tall I am.
Yeah. There was one for. Oh, go ahead. Dan.
No, it's just I think James was 6'4", so he's a big boy.
Yeah.
Oh.
So he was bigger than me, but my brothers are 6'4" and 6'5", so I'm kind of the short one of the family.
Wow.
Y'all got some tall people.
Yes.
You're the short one.
Yeah.
My little sister's almost my height as well. So.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Whole family.
Yeah. Where were you gonna say, Dustin?
Oh, Trevor had a question earlier that was fun. He said, Dan, can you name all the Dimera children, living and dead? Okay. We weren't sure how much that history went there.
Children or grandchildren?
That's probably good.
Oh God, no!
I mean, all the siblings. Yeah.
Don't do that to me.
Yeah.
Did we not just have a whiteboard discussion?
I know, right? Yeah.
Like that's what was needed.
Well, the dead ones weren't on there, so yeah, you'd have to do some research on those.
The dead ones weren't on there.
I mean, I'm just Googling it right now. So let's have a look here.
And that now brings us to how EJ is EJ, a game brought to you by. No, I'm kidding. We won't. Can you imagine if all of a sudden we had this trivia game of like, do you remember this about EJ?
It's so funny. Let's see. I'm clicking on everything. It just takes me to Pinterest pages.
No, that's not where you want to
go. There's a ton of.
There's a lot of them.
Family tree kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, you're one of many. There's a herd of Dimera children.
There are, and there's probably even more out there.
Yes.
Very promiscuous family.
Yes.
Well, Dan, what we would like to do because we don't want to keep you on here too long. We do realize that you have a life, and we don't want to keep you trapped up in this StreamYard here. But we wanted to do. We love to play little games here, and so we wanted to do something called Dan's Take, where we get your take on some of the things that have happened thus far, or just general questions on things. So first up, we wanted to get your take on Kate faking her blindness. How was that moment in the, just realizing that like she wasn't blind?
I mean, my take is that it just makes perfect sense for a soap. Like,
right?
Just like these characters will do what they need to do to get what they want, and so will fake being blind. But just to pull that off is pretty damn good in itself. So
I found it hilarious every time Lauren Coslow would like be reading a magazine, and then someone would come in, and then she's like, "Who's there?" And just kind of look off into the distance. I loved it. You brought this up earlier about during your screen test and being on the Dimera Mansion for the first time. So what's your take on the Dimera Mansion and how it looks and the aesthetic and all of that?
I love it, but the funny thing for me is like this is my Dimera Mansion.
Right.
So I don't have experience of a previous one that like Theo when we shot the stuff, he came in and was like, "Oh, geez, it's all changed and everything." And I'm thinking it's Gabby, right? Gabby's the one that she changed everything. Was it Gabby that did?
It was never really explained.
Yeah,
it was like all of a sudden because they used to shoot everything like in an upstairs study,
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they came back downstairs and it was a brand new mansion. And we were like, well, that's a lot of construction for this, but it looks great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like there's a nice little chess table there. There's obviously the bar that I frequent a lot. And then you've got like the desk where like we'll always be sitting on our iPads or on our computers or something like that to do work. And then if we're having deep and meaningful conversations, we'll go sit on the couch. And so there's all these little places where action, like depending on what action's happening, is where things will go on. But I love it. It's my Dimera mention. So that as in like that's what it is to me. So I love it. It's great. Yeah.
Well, speaking of the couch, where many discussions are being had, I want to get your take on the Dimera men. Chad, Tony, and also we can't forget Jake, who's not pictured.
Yes. I think I remember that day. I mean, obviously, I love that shot. That's actually a really cool shot. And I'm looking at my hair, going, "See, that's the parted hair that I had back then." And
that's that parted hair that I was like, "What happened?
What's going on? Why does he have the cool?" And how I'm sitting as well, because usually when I sit on a couch, I'll just kind of lounge back, and they're like, "Dan, that's terrible for camera. Sit up straight." I'm like, "Oh, sorry." I remember, I think in those scenes is obviously that's where we were discussing taking over Dimera Enterprises again. And there was one day where I just had so much dialogue, and this was in a period of time where I ended up having, I think like 7 or 8 episodes in 1 week, which is, I think is the upcoming kind of stuff. And I just remember kind of there's parts in it where I'm just on autopilot, kind of like just going and like, oh man, I don't really know what I said, but I think I said it correctly, because they didn't stop me. They didn't make us go again. But it's just, it's a cool dynamic. Obviously there's still, it kind of feels like Chad and myself are constantly butting heads, and then Tony just rocks up and is like, guys, come on, just chill. And that's kind of the relationship, and it's really good. And that's kind of what like Theo's like as well. He's just chill, and kind of relaxed. So it's fun.
Well, another memorable moment was when EJ got to connect with Sami's exes.
Yes.
So what's your take on that? And like sitting there and for you probably coming in and being like, okay, really quickly, what's the connection with everyone?
So it was hilarious that day because they were just making me laugh the whole time. Like Galen was fucking hilarious. And obviously, like, Galen and Brian are just like riffing off each other and just having fun. So I'm kind of coming in. And this was also kind of relatively new for me as well. So I'm trying to come in and be like super professional, but they're just like, they've been on the show for so long that they're just like, they could do this with their eyes closed. And they're, they'll snap into it and do the scene, but then come out and they're just making people laugh and being silly and making me laugh. And I'm like, I'm trying to be professional, but it just helps things so much more when all the actors are just kind of relaxed and having fun, and chilling, but also as well for me, coming into that trio and then Sami coming along. Because I don't necessarily know the depth of all of those relationships, like you guys do, or the fans and everything like that. It wasn't as like a bigger kind of like, oh my god, this is hilarious kind of a moment. And also as well, I'm just like, okay, what are my lines? So, but when you see the photo and the reactions of people, you kind of go, oh, okay, I get it now. That's really cool.
It's done very strategically. You've got the round table of the siblings, the round table of the exes. The thing that you're missing, and we may or may not see this, is the round table of the children.
Yes. The kids. That would be all of them. That would be that'd be a big table.
I mean, I'm just thinking of 2, but all of them would be like, oof.
Do you mean like my kids? Or...
Well, your kids. We could have your kids, but there's also like the 2 others, and that's a whole thing.
Interesting thing. Oh no, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and obviously, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's been announced. Like, obviously, my son comes back to have a play. And that's fun. You know, Carson's awesome.
Yeah,
so that freaks me out too.
Yes, you're playing a dad.
Oh my god, yeah. I'm like, so I've got like this 20-year-old son. I'm like, oh man,
yeah.
I've been 19.
Yeah, right.
Well, in the world of Salem, that's about right.
Yeah.
That's about right. Yeah.
Sammy's a Grammy, so
yeah.
Well, because technically, in real world, EJ is only like 18.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And not a full grown man yet. Yeah. But it's okay. It's the classic soap where kids go upstairs into the attic and then they come back down and they're full adults.
Yeah.
That is literally how Sami came to be. She crawled through an upstairs window, and then we saw her, and then she was Sami.
All right. So one last question for you, Dan, to get your take on this, and it pertains to your storyline. You had your wonderful sister, played by Stacey Hyduke, give you a letter and a phone call. So our question is, letter, email, or phone call, which is the best way to reveal a secret in Salem? Especially this one, because we can tell as of right now the letter has not worked out. Which we discussed, like, by the way, who still writes letters? Like,
well, I was going to say letter seems the coolest because it is so old school and it seems so dramatic that it's like, I've just received a letter and it's telling me all these things.
Yes.
and someone's like, you know, taking the time to kind of write out their you know, words. It's like getting a text message from or like a text message or a Facebook message from my mum, and you're just watching the little bubble, like, waiting, and then it turns out to be, "Hi Dan, how are you?" And it's like 5 minutes have passed. But I guess, do you mean like best as in like the most efficient or the most dramatic storyline wise?
Or which way would you have liked to receive that
terrible news?
That terrible news. Would you rather have her just call you and say, "Hey, this is what had happened," or would you have liked it in an email, or would you have preferred the letter for dramatic effect?
Let's see. So storyline. Has it been revealed yet? Like,
not yet.
But we're all pretty much anticipating.
So waiting to see.
Right now, the last thing we've seen is Eric and Nicole at the Brady pub having their anniversary, and Xander just walked in.
And Lucas has the letter. Yeah.
And that's,
okay, but we all know what the letter's basically. Okay, that's all I was wanting to know.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I would prefer it if Sami told me.
That part, yes.
But no, I like letter.
Yeah.
I like letter because like these days, especially in this time, like getting a letter or something like that, I think it's just kind of like more like, ooh,
it's exciting.
It's a bit more like it, because it takes a bit more time and effort to actually write a letter, like, you know, send it off than it is to send a text or give a call or an email. Email's just like, hey, what's up? And it's just it's probably like, you know, hey, just want to let you know this happened, smiley face. Or frowny face or something like that. Whereas a letter, it just kind of feels like, you know, when people are off at war and they're like, hey, my love, da-da-da, 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 da-da-da. And it's, you know, you have to really...
And you can take it in, and you can read the words,
exactly.
And you can hear their voice and interpret things.
Absolutely. So I'd say letter. I think they made the right choice. Yeah.
I like that. Well, Dan, if you will, we're going to give everyone a sneak peek as to what will come up next week on Days of Our Lives. And I think you should stick around for it because I think this is a good one. And then we can get your take on it.
Okay, let's have a look.
All right. Here's what's coming up next week on Days of Our Lives.
I'm getting ready for my wedding.
I am determined to stop her. His wife couldn't get enough of me. I love you so much.
The wife you adore has been sleeping with another man.
Ooh.
Very dramatic and over the top, EJ. So the Xander party scene was so much fun to shoot.
Yeah.
Long because it's like virtually everyone's there. And they had to, like, you know, obviously the way they shoot it is like this happens and then this conversation happens over here and then that conversation back there and then this action happens. And it kind of it starts to like get the ball rolling on a number of storylines. And obviously we know from the preview that I know something. Like otherwise, like I wouldn't have my little tantrum.
Right. Which that had to feel good as an actor to be able to do, to like.
I love doing that.
Because I've always wanted to clear a desk, not like in a fist of rage. Because sometimes if you clear a desk, something else is about to happen. I'm not ready for that. But I want to clear a desk in a fit of rage. Like, how dare you?
Well, you never know. Maybe I'm psyching myself up. That's what I'm doing. It's like I'm moving the table to kind of get ready for Sami and I. I'm just like, come on, you know, let's do this.
I mean, true to Sami form, it's like, I hate you so much right now, but now I want to love you.
Let's do this. Let's have angry making love.
Yes.
It's kind of funny, like scenes like that where, okay, we had all the props all over the table. And all right, we need you to do this. And of course, immediately you're going, I hope I don't screw this up. It's little things like that there's a scene where, like, later on, I throw a glass at something. And they're like, aim for that. And I don't get it at all. But the stress of that, like getting that, you're like, And so doing that obviously is fun because I did 3 years of Spartacus where all I did was just that yelling and screaming and jumping around and fighting.
Yeah.
And so it felt very familiar to me and like just doing that. Yeah, it's just fun and you get it out and you get to be emotional and scream and then everyone's like, awesome work, Dan. I'm like, yeah, just scream.
They're like, awesome work, and then like rolling up cables and moving the camera onto the next.
Get out of here, put your mask back on, get out.
Well, Dan, it's been such a pleasure having you, and we hope that we can have you back again as things continue to unfold so that we can get your insight on it. But we are very happy to have you in Salem, and once again, you're doing an amazing job, and we just can't wait for next week because we know that it's all about to go down, and we've been anticipating it for the past few weeks because no one in Salem can keep a secret.
No, and I the week that, like, the episodes that are starting to come up is some of my favorite that I've done with Allie. So I'm looking forward to it too. It's going to be good. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of drama.
Well, if you can give us a sneak peek of this drama in one word, only one word, what would it be?
Oh, it's a tough one. See, now I'm on the spot.
We like to do that.
Yeah. Unexpected.
Oh, that's actually a good word because Days fans like to expect things. They'd be like, I know that's gonna happen. But you said
because like I've already seen, like, on Twitter, people like going, oh no, this is gonna happen, or this is this, and like, no, I think that he has to do this, or she has to do this, and da. And I'm like, oh, well, I already know what's gonna happen. But yeah, I mean, in regards to a show that's been on since the 60s, I don't know if anything that's going to come up is unexpected because they've done so much. But for me, I kind of feel like with everything that's happened, and everything that is going to happen, I do feel like it's unexpected.
As Julie Chen would say, expect the unexpected.
That's right.
That's a Big Brother reference for, in case anyone didn't know. And it's a totally different network. And I probably shouldn't have done that, but whatever. We talk about stuff across the board. But thank you so much, Dan. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on. And we can't wait to see how everything unfolds. And hopefully you'll join us again.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. And awesome. Thanks for all your support. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Awesome. Bye, Dan.
All right, guys. Thank you. Take care. All right. Bye.
You too. Bye. Oh yeah, that was so much fun.
Yeah, he was great. Great job.
He was really good.
I think our audience loves him. I think he's just fitting beautifully into the show. You know, it's worked out really, really great.
Yeah. It really has. And we gave y'all an over 2-hour show.
Yes.
So that is that. Well, hold on. See, just look at that. Not ready at all. And here we are. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Before we head out, that sounds loud. Is that loud?
No,
it's
perfect. Yeah.
Before we head out, Justin, tell the kind folks where they can find you on your favorite social media platform.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at Justin Lee Hareld.
And Araceli?
You can find me on Twitter at Tia323 Araceli.
And this just in, apparently, I think this is correct. Mike Manning just won an Emmy.
Yes, congrats.
For the Bay. So congratulations, Mike Manning. Yay! And of course, you guys can find us all on Facebook, Dishin Days Show, _ Dishin Days on Twitter, and Dishin Days on Instagram. And you can find Little Old Chocolate Me at Lounging with Tony. We will be back next week for our final show before the Olympics, and then we'll be back after the Olympics.
Yes.
So you guys check us out next Sunday. A big special thank you to Dan Feuereigel.
Yeah.
After all that time with him,
keep trying.
I'm so sorry, Dan. But thank you so much for him being a part of the show. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next Sunday.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.